let's go back to YouTube because I think there was. Oh, oh yeah. First, more. This is stuff. Yeah, I looked up stuff about the earthquake too. If you guys want to, yeah,
Test
here's
out the
what
brand new HomePower 3600 Pro Max with an output of 4,000 watts and a capacity of
For more than 2 days following the twin earthquakes that rocked Venezuela Wednesday.
It is heartbreaking, and at the same time, it is heart healing.
The Red Cross.
Whoa, it's really quiet. Wow. Could you guys hear that? I barely heard it. It sounded like it was coming from my phone. Let me turn the volume up. Get back here.
Miraculous stories of survival. A 9-month-old baby and the mother pulled alive from the rubble by U.S. rescue crews Saturday. The two had been trapped for more than 2 days following the twin earthquakes that rocked Venezuela Wednesday.
It is heartbreaking, and at the same time, it is heart healing.
The Red Cross is just.
Yeah, see the problem. Yeah, let me go back to the build. Okay, this is at 21 seconds. Let me go back to the building pictures for a minute. Yeah, this is why search and rescue is so hard in this thing. I know I keep saying it, but some people don't get it. The structures can finish collapsing and kill the rescuers, would-be rescuers as well. If not, they might not die. They'd just be trapped too. Just the buildings themselves. You don't have to be doing anything necessarily, but doing stuff like but then you are doing stuff like removing all the rubble, so you can get to the people as well. Can also destabilize the buildings, and aftershocks can be almost as powerful as the original earthquake itself, which does not help at all. This is one of the worst situations to rescue people in.
For more than 2 days
Go back
following
to
the
20.
twin.
Heart healing.
The Red Cross is just one of the many organizations around the world mobilizing to help rescue efforts. The 7.2 and 7.5 magnitude earthquakes struck Wednesday evening near the capital of Caracas, less than a minute apart. The scale of the devastation is coming into focus, with the death toll topping 1,400 and thousands more missing. Saturday, more survivors were rescued, including an 11-year-old who spent 3 days under debris. And crews are desperately searching for more.
Somos la UHR El Salvador y estamos acá para rescatarte.
Historically, the first 48 to 72 hours are known as the golden window to reach people buried alive under rubble. That window has passed, making rescue efforts more dire every minute.
Arriving and just imagine your family is inside and having absolutely no help. It's very sad.
So far, 24 countries, including the U.S., have sent aid, with more than 2,700 rescuers arriving to help.
There's this phase of it, and then there's going to be a stabilization phase, then there's going to be, a kind of, rehousing phase.
Further complicating the rescue efforts are the multiple aftershocks. Hundreds have been reported since Wednesday. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Yeah, and here you said. Here it said 4.6.
You use AI every day. But what if you built what it runs on? At WGU,
big.
you'll earn your software engineering degree online on your schedule.
Oh, I want to check something. Let me actually ask Grok. Jeez. I have spelled Venezuela there for a moment. Okay. Oh, 4.8. Wow. That's good. I was expecting it could be, yeah, they said earlier mentioned possible 5.1 exists in some situation reports. The most consistent update figures for the strongest aftershock is 4.8. The other thing, because they could be, I'm pretty sure a 6.0 would not, aftershock would not be unheard of. Let me just check on that too. Okay, no. Ah, okay, so understand, I don't mean Venezuela, I mean. I'm not asking specifically about Venezuela, it just is being weird. Okay. Yeah, I knew there had to have been some. But yeah, I was in an earthquake once. It was when we lived near Seattle, and I think it was a 6 point something. And it is an experience I never want to repeat. I would just leave it at that. Now, well, okay. Yeah, I want to see how someone's getting sued for 1.5 billion. I think it's a little bit lighthearted, so it's a palate cleanser type thing. I hate this commercial. The music annoys me so much.
This alpha male investor who claims he can help you 10x your life, whatever that.
Oh, let me turn the volume back down. Forgot. Okay, don't need it that high now.
That means is now being sued for a grand total of $1.5 billion. So I guess when you 10x your life, you also 10x your lawsuits as well. And we talk a lot about the alpha male life coaches and financial advisors and those kinds of types here on this channel. But when it comes to dudes who post some pretty absurd claims on Instagram and about how much, I guess, they can change your life, Grant Cardone is one of the OGs. He's kind of a blueprint for some of the door-to-door salesmen, but you might know him from this clip right here.
So I took out 2 loans to get here today. I don't even have money for a hotel. Slept
Give
in
him
my
a
car.
big hand, guys. Homeless dude.
That's what he got from that. Obviously, I can't lie and say that clip's not hilarious. I mean, it's just like so out of touch with reality. I feel like my friend group has recycled that clip dozens of times in the last few weeks. But that clip then graduates to a bunch of people suddenly giving the dude money. So it was definitely a fascinating watch. Talk about spitting in the dude's face.
Give him a big hand, guys. Homeless dude.
Regardless, it's pretty easy to see how this guy could rub people the wrong way. It doesn't help that on
Yeah, I've. Well, let me blow my nose again just a minute. I kind of feel sorry for those people. They really want to better themselves. Yeah, yeah. I want to know if it's a class action lawsuit. Can I get some of that money? Like, yeah. Just give me like 40,000, and I can take the two cruises I want to take.
Top of the abrasive personality, he's also involved in Scientology and sells expensive courses filled with
Oh, he's also involved in Scientology. Okay. The plot thickens.
a whole bunch of repackaged motivational quotes that we've seen time and time again.
Some people think Scientology is a cult. Agree or disagree?
Oh, absolutely not a cult. To me, a cult would be some closed, everybody's got to believe in the same thing, live.
Yeah, okay, like, why would he admit it was... That's such a stupid question to ask. Like, he'd admit it was a cult. That kind of defeats the whole point.
To one person's beliefs, that's definitely not what it is.
Well,
How much money do you have saved?
I have about close to 60 grand.
Yeah, you're broke, dude.
I know.
Yeah, work 10x harder than the next person isn't really groundbreaking advice, and paying upwards of $10,000 just to hear that.
If I had $60,000 in savings, I would feel so rich.
In my opinion, doesn't sound like you're getting your money's worth. I would not deploy my capital like that. But hey, maybe that's just me. Or I guess in the homeless dude's case, I wouldn't be taking out 2 loans to get this advice. This is pretty bad. But if we've learned anything over the years of covering these alpha males, they really rely on people who are desperate to become financially free. These people will then go and apparently take loans to buy these courses or go to these guru events and get this knowledge that you could, for the most part, get for free on YouTube. And
Yeah, that's why can't I empathize that they are in a desperate situation, and whether or not they're responsible for why they're so desperate, I don't know, but they're being taken advantage of. So to have to, like I said, we'd have to know the context, because, I mean, like I said, you were fine, and then you got in a car accident, and you didn't have money to replace the car, or you have health issues now that you can't work like you used to.
it's just kind of sad. But regardless, this has allowed Grant to, you know, gain over 5 million followers on Instagram and become synonymous with some of the largest entrepreneur types in the guru space today. He holds conferences, private coaching calls, and even 10x cruises, where I guess you can be told to get your shit together on a yacht instead of a Zoom call. Again, questionable deployment of capital, but people buy it, I guess. But to be fair, Grant Cardone is one of the few online entrepreneurs who did actually build his success from more or less the ground up, or at least so it seems. His version of events is he started as a car salesman after he got out of rehab at 25. He ended up becoming so successful at it that he began climbing the ranks and eventually teaching other people how to succeed in sales the same way he had.
Got out of college, had this problem, put the drugs away. Every day I would go to work early, I'd stay late. If I needed to make one call.
Why are his eyes so shiny? I don't know if it's just the lighting, but his eyes look way too shiny.
Call, I would make 10. I literally took this problem and poured this obsession with destruction into an obsession with, I'm going to just 10 times everything and keep myself busy.
And
I found a lot of stuff on the beach during my 5 seasons.
obviously, I guess since then, he's also pivoted his businesses a lot, focusing more on coaching and real estate investing than sales. But I will be fair and admit he probably does have decent sales advice. Is it worth $10,000 though? I guess it depends on the person, but for most people, probably not. Regardless, that's not really what we're here to talk about, because Grant is apparently no stranger to public legal and personality disputes. So when you're a big fish, like Grant here, especially in the alpha male space, you're going to have some enemies. But I guess between 2 lawsuits filed against him right now, Grant is facing a total of $1.5 billion in damages, which, even for him, is a pretty penny. So the larger $1 billion complaint was filed at the end of May by an ex-employee by the name of Brian Robb. against Grant Cardone and his company, Cardone Capital LLC. And just to give you a quick overview, Cardone Capital is a real estate investment company that is marketed to everyday people as a way to get their foot in the door of real estate investments. But essentially, this company, they advertise no banks, no brokers, no middleman fees, and Grant even has, I guess, his teenage daughters promoting it online to other young people as an amazing investment opportunity.
Hey guys, and welcome back. We just ran into a guy who was making $2,500 a month with us at Cardone.
Okay, he's using his teenage daughters. Now, 18 and 19 are still teenage. I hope that's what he's talking about.
Capital, and he was talking to us about how grateful he is and how it's helped support his lifestyle.
And obviously, I'm not here to say if I think it's legit or a good place to invest your money, but Brian's lawsuit seems to be alleging that there might be some shady stuff going on behind the scenes. So again, these are allegations. We have to tread very lightly here. We're only talking about what's now public. So the lawsuit states that Brian found conduct from Cardone Capital LLC that he believes to be fraudulent and reported it to federal authorities. And this is when Brian says that Grant started a public campaign to discredit him in retaliation to him bringing the potential fraud to light. And I guess by public campaign to discredit him, it seems that Brian is referring to statements made by Grant on Facebook, where he asks if any of his followers knows this goofy dude, and I guess describes him as a low energy mama's boy with entitlement issues and hairline insecurity. What a funny series of events. Hey guys, there might be some fraudulent activity here. This guy is a mama's boy with mama's problems. Sure, whatever. Grant's opinion, but Brian's LinkedIn states that he's raised $50 million for Cardone Capital during his time as the CMO.
Yeah, that guy is just reminding me of Bricks and Minifigs and all those guys. They're the same thing. They're the same MO when they get accused of fraud. They have the same reaction.
In one of his Facebook posts, Grant says that this isn't true and that he only worked there for a short time before he was terminated and not missed. Is this professional? Probably not, but the lawsuit is about defamation, and Grant even tacks on that this is just my opinion at the end, probably because, you know, he's dealt with defamation before and knows to cover his own ass. But I guess Brian might have a case if he can prove that it was retaliated against because I guess he was a whistleblower. But according to Grant, there was no fraudulent business discovered from the investigation, and Grant hasn't been hit with any fraud charges so far, meaning, as far as we know, Grant is legit.
What we all don't know is what the investigators wrote about in their report. Cardone has never been indicted or charged with fraud in any way, and if he never is indicted for fraud, then what he's saying is kind of fair because he's never been hit with a fraud charge.
Unfortunately for Brian here, trying to prove that a Facebook post that called you pre-balding cost you $1 billion in damages while also not being a public figure is going to be a little bit difficult for them to prove. Like, come on. Like, there's a high chance that this is going to be dismissed. Let's be real. But this is apparently not the only massive expensive lawsuit that Grant is facing. So, former Miss Universe Canada delegate and owner of a modeling agency called Hout Agency, Chelsea Sophia Howell, brought a $500 million lawsuit against Grant Cardone and Cardone Capital, alleging a malicious and coordinated defamation campaign that includes false accusations of human trafficking. Oh boy. So this was filed in December 2025, and Grant has also publicly came out and discussed this lawsuit and how ridiculous he thinks it is more than once.
I mean, I got a chick right now suing me for $500 million.
Half a billion.
Chelsea, whatever her name is. Oh, you didn't see that? Oh, yeah.
So the story goes, Chelsea had been renting a very expensive apartment from Grant and woke up in the middle of the night and decided that the sprinklers were actually recording devices. He then says that she ripped them from the ceiling and caused $1 million in water damages.
This chick, a tenant, goes into my house, rents our house right down the street here.
Oh, there's a former Miss Universe?
Yeah, so she goes in, rents a unit from us, wakes up at 2 o'clock in the morning, either because whatever reason, you would wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and decide that the sprinklers in the ceiling are actually videoing you. So whether you're having a breakdown, nervous breakdown, and decide I got to pull every sprinkler out of the ceiling and dumps 200,000 gallons of water on the floors, does $1 million worth of damage. The police, the firemen go up there. She's crazy. There's all over the place, residue of everywhere. And the fact that I call it out, she wants to say I'm defaming her. I'm like, I just want $1 million worth of damages.
Yeah, that's crazy. Were they recording devices? I mean, if they were shooting water Maybe not. Who knows? Naturally, though, Grant then took his Facebook to ask if any of his followers had any information on her and her whereabouts. And in his post, he includes another modeling/dating agency from the Middle East that he says that she might be linked to, since apparently she doesn't only have ties to the USA and Canada, but also abroad. But Chelsea, however, somehow decided by insinuating that she may be linked to an agency that she is engaging in human trafficking. She also links another post Grant made about her from where it's actually just random people in the comments alleging that she might be involved in human trafficking. And she says that the comments are, I guess, enough to hold Grant accountable for these accusations. I'm gonna be honest here. It looks like Grant is gonna go 2 for 2 here. These cases are going to be hard to make stick. Because obviously, let's be real. If a stranger comments on something publicly...
Wait. I want to go back. Just a minute. Let me check something. Okay, where it says 125 weeks. That's like 52 weeks in a year. These are, why does it say not say years old? Is this, or this does it? But yeah, because I've never seen where it does 125 weeks. It usually go into months and then years. That's weird.
Alleging that she might be involved in human trafficking, and she says that the comments are, I guess, enough to hold Grant accountable for these accusations. I'm gonna be honest here. It looks like Grant is gonna go 2 for 2 here. These cases are going to be hard to make stick. Because obviously, let's be real. If a stranger comments on something publicly, that doesn't necessarily mean that the poster endorses that comment. No, that's just some stranger commenting on a public post. That's kind of like renting a town square and then some random person you don't know shows up to the town square and says something defamatory. Just because Grant rented that town square for that moment doesn't mean that he's now liable for that statement said on the town square that he rented by some random person he doesn't even know who is. But apparently Grant's been suing her since the initial incident in 2024. Apparently, according to those legal documents, he's had to file multiple motions for sanctions because Chelsea and her lawyers were not responding for discovery requests and even failed to appear in mediation.
Grant had to file a motion for sanctions against Chelsea and her attorneys in September 2024. I read through the docket and it was pretty clear that Chelsea and her attorneys were not participating in discovery requests, responding to interrogatories, and availing themselves for depositions. A couple months later, Cardone Expansion LLC's motion for sanctions was granted. They had to file another motion for sanctions last July for failure to appear at mediation.
And Grant was ultimately rewarded with these sanctions and attorney's fees. So it's safe to say that once again, Grant is looking like he's going to take this one as well. Like, even if you don't like him, he's going back-to-back W's on these 2 cases. And like I said, even if either of them have a case, which I guess Brian potentially could, he might have the best shot if he can like prove that he was retaliated against for whistleblowing. Or regardless, I mean, the amount both of them are trying to claim, those are crazy numbers. But there's also a chance they end up in worse positions than when they started, because to use Grant's words, they 10x their problems. Regardless, this is just a interesting story I wanted to monitor the situation on, because it's not every day a self-proclaimed alpha male investor gets sued for $1.5 billion. So if there is an interesting update that comes out of this, I'll definitely cover it. But until then, feel free to subscribe if you're new here, drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.
With McCormick, every dish is made to share.
I can't believe they're swinging, and it's like, let me just see if there's any other 2 videos. It's 2 separate lawsuits at least.